Thank you guys for being here. This is approximately 6:05. I'm going to go ahead and officially call the meeting to order tonight. Tonight we're going to have invocation. We're going to ask Commissioner Edwards if he would give us our invocation tonight.
If everyone would bow their heads, please. Dear Lord, we thank you for another day to come together, actually come together and do the business of the county. We ask that you give us wisdom, discernment, patience, and most of all, your love and grace. We ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Next, I will pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Guys, first of all, we want to thank all of you for being here today. This is our budget hearing tonight. Also, want to let you know that we are on Zoom tonight as well. We are on Zoom tonight as well. Mr. Kerr, I'm going to get ready to turn it over to you, sir. You and Ms. Brittany.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to say thank you to all of the staff, and in particular, Brittany White, who was our finance director, who did a fantastic job on putting this budget together. But I'd also like to recognize all of our department heads, the constitutional officers, and all of the elected officials who had a part in putting this budget together, as well as yourself, Mr. Chairman. This is quite a long process every year, and we do work very hard. I think everyone at the county takes the taxpayers into consideration and genuinely have the best interests at heart for all the citizens, as we try to be good stewards of the money that we are given us by the taxpayers. And so with that, I'd like to go over just a few things in overview, and then we'll open this up for questioning. Some notes that I'd like to make is that the budget is a balanced. We have put together a balanced budget, and that does conform with the current millage rate. We're not proposing any type of an increase in the millage rate. During the budget process, we did have, we did have an opportunity for all of the department heads, as well as the elected officials and the constitutional officers, to present their budgets to the board during multiple work sessions. All departments began with a zero-based budget in funding, and then if there were any increases in their departments, they did provide for us a justification for those increases. Some of the challenges that we had were increases due to the salary cost increases from the prior year as a result of moving all of our employees to the next step in the step plan, pay plan that was adopted by the board in 2019. We had an overall increase in our health insurance costs of 7%. We, of course, have dealt most recently with the COVID-19 pandemic and all of the uncertainty and, of course, all of the impacts that it has had on operating this county government, as well as on the economy. We certainly have taken quite a bit of time analyzing and taking into account and to consideration those impacts. We also, I have identified challenges in funding the debt service that will be created with the building of Fire Station number 4 And then we've also, there's also the challenges that we have in funding positions to man those new stations, stations 4 and well as number 8. And we're renovating fire station number 2, and as well as providing the numbers of personnel that we need to operate the senior services with its expansion, as well as the animal shelter and the animal services building, and to provide pardon me, additional help for our facilities maintenance department to take care of all of the additional square footage that is being added and has been added over the last several years. We anticipated and we have estimated that there will be an 8% increase in the tax digest during this, for this next year. Our step level raises for all employees totaled $1.6 million. Our health insurance premium increase was $617,000. We did have a total of new positions of $2,300,000. We have transferred $500,000 into the capital improvement fund, and this budget contains a contingency for fiscal year changes of $372,000, $370,000 in funds for new vehicles for the sheriff's office, matching funds of $545,760 for an anticipated $1,297,912 in federal, state, and local grant funds. And also, we are going to do a $135,000 upgrade on our information system servers in order to help protect the data that we have. And I'd like to, excuse me, take a look for just a moment on page 12 of our budget, which is the general fund expenditures by department. But just to take a look at the total, our proposed total budget for fiscal year 2021, the total expenditures are $75,405,206. And that is an increase of 5.1% over the revised budget for fiscal year 2020. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brittany White, our finance director, and for any comments that she may have.
I would like to point out our all funds overview, because this budget book does cover all of the funds. The one thing I would like to mention, to piggyback on Lloyd's comment about the fire station, is we are planning to bond the fire station in Fund 271. So if you do see an increase in the Fund 271, we haven't counted for the debt service in there. So our total county budget this year will be $105,594,339, which is an increase of 6.9% from last year. $105,594,339.
And what percentage?
6.
And I would also like to mention that our current fund balance for the county right now is right around $19 million. And we will see a revised fund balance number at the end of FY21, or 20, excuse me.
Brittany, you said 6.9%.
6.9% increase.
All right. Commissioner Edwards, go ahead, sir. Commissioner Edwards, go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all ready for?
Yes, sir. We're ready to entertain questions from the board or to open the public hearing.
Okay. let's answer the board's questions quickly. Commissioner Edwards, you have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. All right, we have, make sure I understood this right, 2.3 million in new positions.
Pardon me, yes, sir, that is correct.
That's across BOC, what we call BOC, law enforcement, and public safety, the entire.
Yes, sir, that's correct. That's all the positions.
Do we have it broken out?
Hey, can I get you to speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, Lloyd, do we have it broken out in, and I've probably asked this question before. Just what the new positions are for the new fire stations only? Do we have that broken out by chance right there? If you don't, then.
We do have it. I do not have it with me right now, but is it 12 or 20 positions? It's 20 positions, but I can get you a breakdown of exactly what those are.
Or that includes 2, 8, and 4, right? 20 positions, so you approximately need 7 staff positions per station.
Well, Station 8, actually, we have hired the individuals to staff Station 8, and they're in training now. There was a number of those recruits who were at the, actually at the dedication this morning. And we're the individuals that will be hired are primarily to staff Station 4, and then also to help staff Station 2, and to provide for some command staff, since our numbers are getting larger. There's a need now for the mid-level managers, which are the lieutenants and captains. And so those positions, we're opening up some of those positions, and in order to make sure that our span of control is not too great within the department.
So, but those 20 positions, includes those middle-level managers, right?
Yes, sir, they do. They include
And
those.
all as a direct result of those 3 stations, staffing those 3 stations.
Yes, sir, they would be as a result of those addition of those stations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Hey, guys, I also want to remind you, we're going to do this very quickly because this is a public hearing, and there are citizens here as well as on Zoom call, so let's kind of make it brief. Commissioner Mason, you have anything? You know, Commissioner Schultz, you have anything? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brittany, in our finance package for later in the regular meeting, we have, we look like we have an overage that is probably going to go into fund balance. Have we accounted for that in terms of next year's budget to where we're not budgeting the same amount of overage?
Yes, I think part of our overage this year is the structure of the TAVT tax changing, and the county did receive a lot more than anticipated. But in the next year's budget, we did budget according to what we've been receiving in the TAVT tax revenue this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Henderson. You have anything, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 questions. Excuse me. First of all, forgive me for being late. My questions are, so with the money that we are collecting, we are projected to have a balanced budget.
Yes, sir, that is correct. We'll have a balanced budget.
So mostly, or everything that was talked about in the budget probably will be funded.
Yes, sir. Everything that's included in this budget would be funded.
Okay. Second question is, we had talked a while back about Oriole Cousin School. You know, we went out in the county, purchased that piece of property. So I know that we've been looking at the funding of the fire station. If I'm not mistaken, bonding the money. Is any of that money going to be bonded to to do some work over at Cousins.
We did not have any funding with this budget cycle to do any of the work at Cousins, but at this point, it actually would be premature to do that because we really need to do a master plan. And in order to do that, we're looking at probably 8 to 10 months of work of engineering and design work, plus the meetings and all of the planning that would take place in order to make sure that we programmed all of that space appropriately. But we weren't able to also include that to bond for construction with this particular budget cycle.
That is just one last follow-up question. I think when we looked at that piece of property before we purchased it, we talked about it was about, I think the gentleman that the chairman and yourself, the county manager, came over, and he looked at it, and he said it would be about $8 million in order to kind of bring it. And I thought that was a fair amount in the budget for it to be bonded along with that for the fire station. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Guys, we need to open it up now. For any citizens out here who, out there who have comments, or want to make comments concerning the budget, you're allowed 3 minutes to do so. If you would, please come up to the podium and state your name, your address for the record, please. Once we finish with comments inside, we'll take comments by Zoom. Anyone would like to make comments, you may do it at this time. Just please state your name, your address for the record, please. You can come up to the podium. Yes. Yep, up here. You can just stand on the other side. That's all right. That's all right. This is your first time here. That's okay.
Hello, can you
That's
hear me?
okay. Yep.
Awesome. So, hello, my name is Toy Banks, and my address is 70 Lydia Court, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I actually have a couple of questions, but I'll go ahead and get to it. My first question is regarding the last year's budget, which I noticed that $373,000 of it went to Gaither's Plantation and Factory Shoals. My first question is, does the board think it was ethical to funnel taxpayer dollars, specifically black taxpayer dollars, into an institution that did grow wealthy from free labor at the hands of African Americans? My second question is the board aware of the atrocities that occurred on plantations against black men, women, and children, and specifically the ones that have been relegated to ghost tale stories and hideouts for Confederate slaves on that plantation where taxpayer dollars are being funneled into? My third question is, in regards to the grants that were just mentioned here, how are we ensuring that the underserved communities are being considered for those, and then also for the 2.3 million jobs that are being created for Newton County? What is the D&I strategy to also make sure that members of low-income and black communities, specifically also Latinx, are also being considered for those roles? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? This is an opportunity for you to make comments. Perfect time to do it is now. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman. It's Larry McSwain, 35 Glengarry Chase. I'm having a difficult time participating. There's no video coming through at all on Zoom, but I do have a few comments if you're asking for public comments at this time.
We are. You have 3 minutes to do so, sir.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Larry McSwain, 35 Glengarry Chase, Covington. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the 2021 budget and for making it available on the county website. You've done a very good job making a comprehensive amount of financial information available for the public without making open records requests, and I certainly appreciate that. As you consider the budget tonight, I'm asking you to take another look at increases requested by some departments and some constitutional offices. Budget requests above 10% certainly should be trimmed back, and we even have a few above a 20% increase. For example, the district attorney is asking for a 22% increase in the budget. The probate court, facilities management, human resources, animal services are all at 10% or more. I think in this time of uncertain financial future for the county that that's certainly not an appropriate increase. Asking for new positions at $2.3 million, again, needs another look. I'm certainly not against new positions needed for the fire stations, but beyond that, this is not a year for new positions. Also, consider the jail operations budget, which is increasing by $1.1 million despite no increases in inmate populations. In fact, there's been no increase in inmate population for several years yet. Our jail operating budget has continued to increase by significant amounts. Also, take a look at the May financial report that you're going to receive tonight from Ms. White, and you will see that the county revenue is $8.5 million above actual expenditures and $3.8 million over what was budgeted for 2020. Surely you can carry over some of this excess revenue to 2021 and reduce our millage rate. Tonight, during your regular session, you're going to hear some big spending plans, big end-of-the-year spending plans, which is common. I was a government employee. I know how that works. But you folks need to be able to protect the existing overage in revenue so you can transfer some of that to the next year and save taxpayers some money. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Guys, if you're on Zoom tonight, if you would, press *6 and you can be unmuted. And you are able to make comments at this time. You have anyone, Brian?
No one yet.
Is there anyone here who would like to make comments about the budget? You can do so now. Anyone here? I'm sorry? Yeah, you can. Come on.
Am I correct that we had $75 million for the county? Is that what you said, 75 million? For the general fund? Okay, I'm also curious to know or understand why there aren't any line items for the community within here, specifically low-income students or members of our population who could benefit from having activities and other resources within the community. I think I briefly touched on this, but I am from Newton County. I did go to the University of Georgia, and I did learn a little bit about how our community compared to some of the others. And what I can say is that Newton County does not prepare our students for some of the experiences we do have in college. But more than that, if we want to pour into the future, Mr. Henderson did make a valid point in that we should be investing in those schools and other resources and opportunities for our students. So also wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make comments? You may do so now. Please, ma'am, state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Sorrel George. My address is 310 Meadow Ridge Drive, Covington, Georgia, 30016. I am a District 3 community member, and I just wanted to state that with a budget of 75 million, I am hopeful that eventually our district will have something as small as a library or even a community park. Of course, I am an African-American woman, and of course, I'm a mother to a young black boy, and it's really disturbing that I have to venture outside my own district for a park or a library or any other resources that I think any child should have just for the sake of growing up. So hopefully you would take that into consideration when you are allocating funding for Newton County. Oh, and let me stress that I do pay taxes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to make comments? You may do so now. Anyone else would like to make comments? Great opportunity to do it. Brian, you want to check Zoom? Mr. Kerr, you have anything else?
No, sir, I don't have anything. Thank you.
All good? All good? All good? I'm sorry? Okay, yeah. You have anything else for the commissioners? You good? You have anything else for the commissioners? No? Okay. I'm gonna take this opportunity to close our public hearing. If nothing else, I seek a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? Thank you. Stand adjourned.